illegal entry is down 96%. What's most impressive is known gotaways. Known gotaways under Joe Biden, were on average 1,800 people a day across the border, weren't apprehended, weren't processed, weren't vetted. We don't know who they are, where they came from. That's a huge national security issue. Known gotaways are down to, double digits now. But, we're not going to be satisfied till that known gotaway is down to zero. We're going to secure that border, make sure no public safety threats or national security threats cross that border and get away.
Doesn't sound like anything's wrong with that. Border czar Tom Homan there over the weekend talking about all of the progress that's been made at the southern border since President Trump came into office for his second term.
Homan also vowing the Trump administration would not defy court orders stemming from legal challenges over invoking the Wartime Alien Enemies Act to deport undocumented migrants from the United States. John Fabbricatore joins us now, former head of ICE for the Denver region. Chris Cabrera is here, vice president of the National Border Patrol Council. Gentlemen, welcome, and thanks for coming on. John, could I start with you to hear those words from border czar Tom Homan? What sort of impact does that have on actual enforcement, right? And could you talk to us about what you've noticed even in Denver?
Yeah, so, with the border being shut down the way it is, I mean, we know that, there are less criminals getting into the United States, less terrorist organizations getting in. So this is absolutely a good thing that they've shut this border down, and they're doing exactly what President Trump said that they were going to do when he took office, is secure the United States.
Yeah, and Chris, what do you think it is? We went through 4 years of the Biden administration, and we've seen record levels of illegal crossings of the U.S. southern border. We know more than 10 million came in. It could be more if you count, again, gotaways. There was no real concern, at least by that administration at this time. You come in a couple of months now, and everyone is on their P's and Q's about this. At every turn, the judicial process is playing out to say, hold on, who are you deporting one by one? But there is no concern about who is coming in. Why is that in your mind, Chris?
It just seems like we have that two-tier justice system where the folks that were asleep at the wheel a couple years back are now suddenly on it and alert. It has more to do with their political leanings than actually what's going on with the law. I mean, you look at what President Trump and Tom Homan have done, and they've done a tremendous job. I mean, it's extremely slow on the border right now. We're back to catching drugs. We're back to catching people that are trying to get away, not turning themselves in.
Right. And John, actually, you might be familiar with one case specifically in Denver. This sort of illegal immigration expert, our reporter Leo Feldman, was telling our viewers about it. This Jeanette Vizguera, who had essentially avoided punishment or arrest by ICE for 30 years. Can you talk to us more about that case?
Yeah, I'm intimately familiar with it. I worked it for 15 years of my career, so I'm very aware of what happened in this case. And, the left is, putting her up on a pedestal, trying to say that, she has no criminal convictions, which she does. She has convictions for Social Security fraud. She also left the United States while she was in appeal, snuck back into Mexico, snuck back across the border, was prosecuted for 8 U.S.C. 1325. This woman has avoided immigration law and has pointed her finger back at the United States every single time that we've tried to do something to her, and now they're trying to keep her from being deported. She is exactly the kind of case that should be deported from the United States.
Yeah, that brings me to that point of, again, so much focus now on who is getting sent back versus who was coming across the U.S. border.